Well, it's a horrible, grim, raining day today, so we're going to go into the shed, and I'm going to show you a really quick way to paint up the Iron Golem warband from Warcry. Just quick, easy, tabletop standard, get it on the table and get playing. Right, let's go inside. Okay, so we've got here the leader of the Iron Golem warband. So we've just done an undercoat with grey cere. I say we've done it, I've done it, but I like to think we're a team here working together. And then what I've done here is just on the base, that's just child's play sand and a bit of wood glue. Now the reason why I've done that is just to add some texture to the base, the reason of which will become apparent when we do the base in just a tickaroo. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through how we're going to paint this. So it's reds, golds. We're going to go for the traditional colour scheme from the box, but we're going to do it in a nice, quick, easy way so you can actually get this painted and get playing with this. Now, if you do it like this, you can get the entire warband, which is 8 models. You can get it painted up in about 3 hours. So not too bad at all. So we're just going to start things off with some Blood Angels Red contrast paint, and we're going to do the armour. Now, the armour is red and gold, so we're going to do the flat bits. Generally, they're going to be red, and we're going to do the bendy bits, like the chainmail loincloth. That's going to be gold. So with this contrast paint, you're going to want to just be generous with it. Don't be too stingy. The lovely thing about Blood Angels Red is that it gives off a very, very vibrant red. Now, if you want to take it up a notch, then paint all the red bits silver beforehand, and that'll give you a slightly more metallic looking red. Okay, so just go over all of these areas here, just with a bit of Blood Angels Red contrast paint. So that's all of the red bits now taken care of. Now hopefully you can see that that's turned out pretty nicely. That's gone into all the gaps. Now the lovely thing about contrast paint is that it's very easy to paint over, but the annoying thing is that it's very hard to use it to paint over other things. So that's why we're using the contrast paint first, because of things like the face grill here, or you can see the logo on his belt buckle for the Iron Golems. That's something I want to do in gold. Bring that a little bit closer there. So it's very easy to paint gold on top of contrast, but it's very hard to paint contrast on top of base colours. So that's why we're doing the contrast first. Now what I'm going to do is I've got the Retributor armour here, and it's going to tickle that on to the quite a lot of gold bits hanging on here actually. Right, so it's going to paint that onto the gold. Now with the metallics here, don't go too heavy. Make sure that you thin your paints, which you can just do with water. So keep a little mug of water on the side there, especially with things like this chainmail here. So just use very thinned down gold paint for the chainmail, because it's quite intricate, and if you daub it on, then you're just going to end up in a situation where you can't see the holes and it looks like he's just wearing a big gold skirt. Right, so I'm going to get the metallics on, and then we're going to do the silver bits. Okay, so the gold is looking good. Now, as you can see, there's a couple of bits there that need touching up. We can do that as we go along. Now, the other thing that I hope you can see, I really want you to see, is the belt buckle. Now, when you're painting the Iron Golem, they've all got this lovely kind of logo on there of the belt buckle, which is the gate thing. Now, I'm going to show you how to paint that. You know how to paint gold. That's just fine. You basically get gold and you put it on the brush. But with the gate, I just want to show you how to do this because it's a little bit tricky. So you want hardly anything on your brush. You want a really, really dry brush. Just stroke it on your hand a bit to get rid of most of the paint. And then what you do is, holding it flat against there, is just sort of tickle it up against that raised surface. Just rub that a bit. And you can see now that that has picked out the detail in there without ruining it with just having the gold slop everywhere. Just literally just rub it against there and tickle it. Now that's all the gold done. So now we're going to move on to the silver bits. So I've got lead belcher for this, because lead belcher is just a good... So if you have one silver in your paint box, make it lead belcher. Now we're going to do the weapon head. Just maybe need a little bit more paint on there. It's got this lovely, massive, awesome hammer. So let's get that on there. So we're going to do the weapon head, and we're also going to do the big, thick chains around his arm. And you can see on the back of his calves here, he's got those chains which hold his greaves on, and this chain here which connects his pauldrons onto his loincloth skirt thingamajig. We're going to do that in lead belcher as well. Okay, so we've done the metallics, and we've got the armour pretty much done. So the only things that are left are the base, the skin, and what I'm going to do now is the weapon haft. So I've got Leviadon Blue for the weapon shafts. Now you might think, why the fuck are you using Leviadon Blue when you should be using snakebite leather because it's leather? Well, my answer to that is, first of all, you can get blue leather, so it's not the end of the world. And also, I want a colour that will kind of stand out and pop. So, colour theory is a little bit beyond my knowledge. I'm a bit too thick to understand that. But, dark blue and gold go well together. And dark blue and red, it adds a bit of contrast. So, that's why I've gone for that. And also, I've spent so much damn time painting, brown leather on the Untamed Beast. So I want this to kind of, stand out a little bit. There you go. Right, so I'm just going to touch that bit up, and then we're going to do the skin. Alright, now let's do the skin. So, in contrast to the Untamed Beast, who spent lots of healthy time outdoors playing rugger and all the rest of it, the Iron Golem spend their time in underground forges and generally living a very unhealthy lifestyle. Well, not that unhealthy. I mean, look at him, he's still got a six-pack. But the point is, they've got very kind of pale, pasty, ashen skin. And the way we do that is with a undercoat of grey cere and then just white on top. So make sure you get in there, but here's the thing. Don't put too much on. We're not looking for a massive, great big spludge of white. What we want is just like a very kind of loose coat of white. Again, this is why we do the contrast paints first, because they're really easy just to cover up with these normal base paints. You can see on the palm of his hand there, a bit of Leviadon Blue there that I spilt, and that just covers that up beautifully. So just don't put too much on for the white, but just kind of what you're looking to do is kind of blend it in a bit. You don't need to go into every nook and cranny. You can see here, just on the calf here. You can see here that I haven't done a full, total going over every single part of it, have I? Just giving a very kind of loose, light coat. You can still see some of the grey cere underneath. At least I hope you can. But make sure that you do get bits like the toes. I don't know why the Iron Golem is so against shoes. They're massively in favour of huge, heavy, bulking armour, but considering they're about to be doing a 1,000-odd mile schlep to the Varan Spire, you'd think a pair of boots might be in order, but there you go, what do I know. Right, so I'm going to finish off the skin, and then we're going to do the fun bit, which is putting on the ink. Right, so I put the white on the flesh parts of the model, and the nice thing about that as well is if you spilt any of the red or the gold or the silver over the skin, just white just touches it up quite nicely. Now, while I'm waiting for the skin to dry, we've got some Skeleton Horde contrast paint for the skull. Now, he does not come with the skull. This is something that I've got from the Citadel skull set, which I would absolutely recommend you buy. You've got a shed load of skulls in there for about, I think that's about 15 quid from Games Workshop, so pretty decent value. And you've got enough skulls for several armies. Yeah, and a load of terrain projects. And if you're playing Chaos, or if you're playing Orcs or anything like that, get the Citadel skull set. And even on a big skull like this, Skeleton Horde is still a really nice medium to use to paint it up. Other things you can do if you don't have Skeleton Horde is paint it white, but with the white just add in a tiny smidgen of yellow. So you get a tiny off-white there, and then on top of that you can just ink it. But I'm using Skeleton Horde because I'm lazy and I want to get this painted up. Speaking of painted up, it's now painted up. So, going to wait for that to dry, and then we're going to stick on a shed load of ink at the end, and then it's going to be all over by the shouting. Okay, so the skull is looking good on the bottom there, and what we're going to do now is just the final little part of the model is I've got some dark tone by Army Painter, and we're just going to liberally apply that basically everywhere. So make sure you really get into all those nooks and crannies. And the technique that you're looking for with the brush, just use an old, you can see how fucking tatty that brush is there. And what you want to do is just dab it on. Dab it on. Abaddon's less successful brother. And you can see this works really well with the chainmail. Yeah, be gentle with the flesh, be fairly conservative with it there. But you can see it gets in really nicely in those chainmail links. It goes in really well there. Now what you want to avoid, and just wipe it away with the brush if you see it, is any pooling. Because if it pools you'll be left with kind of big lumps of black, which is what you don't want. What you want is sooty metal. That's the impression we want to give. And also, put a little bit on the armour, not a lot, but a little bit on the red armour. Yeah, the gold is where you want to be focusing most of your attention on. There you go, and on the weapon head as well. Let's get some of that on there. There you go. Now hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. There you go, just work that into the recesses. And the things with this armour, because it's quite fiddly, make sure you get under the plates as well, like you can see here, where the arm meets the armour. Make sure you get under there. Poke it into those recesses. Yeah, get on the end there. Now this is the bit I've been really looking forward to. And you can see the face grill there with the iconic Iron Golem's helmet. Just get a big lot on the brush and just go pop. Just like that. Now, once you've got it all covered, you can see that's looking pretty good. Don't worry if any of it falls on the skull, by the way. Right, I'm just going to put a little bit more around the skull, to be honest. Yeah, what the hell, we'll give the skull a bit of a coat as well. Right. Then, hold it up to your face. Just give it a bit of a blow. And that'll get rid of any of the pooled in areas. Okay, now you can see there, and that's more or less what it's going to look like when it's dry. So I'm going to get on some Astogranite debris onto here now. So Astogranite debris, that's a technical paint by Games Workshop. Now it's really good because it gives a slightly rough texture, and again, shitty tatty brush, use this, and then rub it on there, like that, around the edges there. Now, Astogranite debris has got pigments and little micro beads in the paint that make it sit very heavily. So that's why it gives quite a nice kind of crumbly texture, like tarmac or blasted wastes in this case. Don't worry if any of it kind of drips from the skull downwards, just blend that in, that's fine. Now you can see here, here's the tricky part. You can see there's a little gap underneath the skull. So what we're going to do there is I'm just going to wet my brush, and then just stick it in there, and that should just go in there like that. If you get any on the skull, don't worry, that's just dirt on the skull. It's just a nice kind of dirty skull. Tiny bit of pooling there. Again, that's a good excuse for me to show you how to get rid of the pooling here. I guess just dab that off with a brush. Just dab that off there. Right, and that is pretty much how you paint the Iron Golem. So please do like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. But what I'd really love is if you've got the time, please do give me a comment below. You know, I've got these lovely new lamps here. Ta-da, ta-da. So hopefully we'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better from now on. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Yeah, please do join me next time. Don't know what we're going to be doing. It's going to be a surprise. So thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.